Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, before I get started with this lesson, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Racha HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who taught me this truth and rule well. Peace and blessings unto the hopeful elect, pushing his word throughout the four corners of the earth in truth, righteousness, and sincerity. To you I say shalom. This is your brother Yeshaya coming at you again through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. And the title of this lesson will be War is Coming. All right. And we see it, through the news, all these tariffs that, Donald Trump has instituted on China, on Canada, on Mexico, and that's not even to, include, the enemies he's making overseas as far as, the European nations, Ukraine, Russia, what I'm saying? We're seeing things escalate. Things is ramping up, like you hear, brothers that watch that old Batman movie, I think it's Dark Knight Rises, right? You hear Bane say, the fire rises. Hey, we seeing that fire rise, man. That fire of war, right? We're seeing that fire being fanned, man. And ultimately, this is all prophecy, being ready to be fulfilled at the end of the day. The word of the Most High is going to stand, right? His word is not going to return to him void. All right. So what I got here are a couple articles. Well, really just two articles. One from Fox News, which is this one. It reads, China reacting to Trump tariffs, promises to fight to the end in trade war or any other type of war. So you already know what that's insinuating, right? These tariffs, is a economic, it's pretty much an act of an economic war, right? They're calling it a tariff war, but again, it's all economics at the end of the day. You gotta understand these countries are like gangs. They're like gangs, and if you interfere in their cash flow, which is their pretty much their blood, the blood that goes in and out your body, you can be that money is a similitude unto that. If you restrict the blood, you restrict vital nutrients, oxygen going to the brain, certain things, it weakens the body. And a lot of these countries are getting pissed off because, the United States, ever since Trump came into office, he's doing this, he's doing that, you know what I'm saying? And now he's doing the tariffs things. I mean, the instituting tariffs, which is going to restrict that cash flow, gonna pretty much Trump is trying to put all these countries pretty much out of business and put America first. There's, uh, I believe Trump said that in one of his speeches, talking about putting America first. But at the end of the day, this is all going to hurt America, right? This is all going to hurt America. America is making too many enemies too fast. So at the end of the day, we're going to start seeing, as is written in the scriptures, we're going to start seeing all of those that were Confederate with this whore, with America, is going to betray her. Let me get that in Obadiah, the book of Obadiah. Where is it at? Right here, Obadiah 1 and 7. It says, all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee. And what's one of those that were at peace with them? Canada, Mexico. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, there's still more on the way. These NATO nations, that they're, starting to feel bitter uh, towards America. And rightfully so. All the policies they're instituting, these foreign policies, right? A lot of the trade, Nord Stream pipeline, it's a lot of things, that's going on even behind the scenes, as far as these countries starting to despise America, right? Which is, again, is going to lead to them turning their back on America and eventually firing nukes on America, right? But it says, the men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. That's right, man. Soon we're gonna start seeing, like some of these movies, like that movie, uh, Leave the World Behind, or yeah, I think it was called Leave the World Behind. You saw a lot of these planes falling out the sky. Um, what was it? An EMP attack. All these domestic T attacks. We're gonna start seeing more of that. You just had a new series called Zero Day, where they talk about a cyber attack. All these things we're gonna start seeing hit here in America, right? And all these things is written in the scriptures, man. Things that's gonna lead America to turmoil, right? Financial crisis, riots, civil unrest, martial law, right? All these things is written about in the scriptures. These things are just that they're showing on TV. It really is just predictive programming, right? That they're trying to put into y'all, letting y'all know ahead of time what's about to come to pass. So whenever it comes to pass, you know, y'all will be people will be desensitized to it. See, but the thing about it is that people are so dumbed down. Americans are so stupid. They're so dumbed down and so stupid. They can't see what's coming. Like it's so clear and evident what's coming down the pipe. You have the prophets out here, which is a sign alone that this is America's end. But yet people are so stupid and blind, still believing that pretty much believing what their politicians are saying, believing what their leadership is saying. All these words of prosperity, words of hope. There is no hope for America. There is no hope for the American dream. America is not going to bounce back, man. It's over. It's done. It's on its way out. Every kingdom has its time where it's at its peak, and then once it reaches its peak, there's only one way down. And that's what we see in America, man. America's on its way down. There ain't no, oh, we're going to revamp it. That's what Trump is saying. They're going to try to revamp it. They're going to apply this AI infrastructure. They're going to cut costs. They're going to do all this and all that. But really, as we're seeing, all these American people are going to suffer, right? And that's all that's coming, man. Doom and gloom, evils upon evils, right? But anyway, going back, let me read the title again. It says China reacting to Trump tariffs, promises to fight till the end in trade war or any other type of war. Any other type of war, man. Because they understand what's coming, man. World War III is on the line. World War III is almost here. Shit, one can say that World War III is here. You know what I'm saying? But really, World War III ain't gonna happen. The full escalation of it ain't gonna happen until the MOTB is instituted. Once it's forced, you know, and that system is up and running, then and only then will we start seeing, that full escalation of World War III. But anyway, I'm gonna read a little bit into this. It says, China has vowed to fight to the end against President Donald Trump's tariffs, warning that it is ready for any type of war with the U.S. China's Ministry of Foreign Affairs released a statement on Tuesday that pushed back against tariffs against the Chinese government that Trump bumped up from 10% to 20% earlier this week from Beijing's failure to address the flow of fentanyl entering the U.S. Now, I made a video a couple weeks, probably a couple months back, 2 months back, whenever Trump was about to come into office or came into office, when he was talking about the tariffs and all that. And I mentioned in that video all the goods that come out of China that America is dependent upon, right? Food, clothing, right? There's a lot of things that America gets. Like most of its shoes, most of its clothing comes from Mexico or China. All right. Now, we see also that they got that Trump put tariffs on Canada and Mexico, right? We're hearing what Canada's doing, right? Talking about they're gonna cut off the power supply. Some of the energy that that America gets from Canada is going to be cut off. Like I said, hey, things is going to get real bad here for America, for Americans, right? So all you stupid ass people that voted for Donald Trump, hoping for that golden age, that golden era, hey, yeah, you're about to receive, a royal ass kicking, man. Y'all ain't gonna be able to go out to the grocery stores and buy, all the goods that y'all once be able to. Y'all gonna be restricted to a limited amount of things, and even then, it's gonna be very limited, right? Because a lot of things that America gets is all imported. Majority of the things that America gets is imported. All right. America hardly ever manufactures anything or grows anything over here. But anyway, it says, if war is what the U.S. wants, be it a tariff war, a trade war, or any type of war, we were ready to fight to the end. Hey, and I watched the video too. It was a while back, probably about a year ago, but it compared the Chinese military versus the United States military, man. And damn, bro, that Chinese military is, man, they're warriors, man. They're ready. And just the comparison, man, it puts America to shame. Like these YNs that are entering into the military, these new generation, they ain't ready for war, man. They ain't ready for war. They ain't ready for what's coming, right? Which is why America's gonna lose. But it says, continuing on, it says, if war is what the U.S. wants, be it a tariff war, a trade war, or any type of war, we're ready to fight to the end. Ministry spokesperson Lin Jian said in a statement, China has already responded but to the tariffs by imposing a 15% tariff on American agricultural goods. Right, because they really ain't worried, on what America is really taxing them on. You know what I'm saying? America got their own, their own shit. Everything that's produced is from China. Everything is made in China. But it says China has already responded to the tariffs by imposing a 15% tariff on American agricultural goods. Right, so now even they're putting a tax on American goods. So again, this is a war, and we all know that all economic wars eventually lead to real wars. Boots on the ground, right? Fighter jets, tanks, all that is coming, and eventually, they're gonna whip out that modern day sword, the ultimate one, right? Which is the ICBM missiles. But it says, as a matter of fact, let me read this because it goes into a point I want to make. It says Jian's statement, which was quoted by the Chinese embassy in Washington, argued that the fentanyl issue is a flimsy excuse to raise tariffs on Chinese imports. Jian cautioned that intimidation does not scare us and bullying does not work. Man, hey, and that goes hand in hand with this scripture right here. Let me see if I can get it. I think it's Psalms 10. 10 and 5. Yeah. Excuse me. Psalms 10 and 5, it says, talking about the wicked, talking about Esau. It says, his ways are always grievous. Thy judgments are far above out of his sight. As for his enemies, he puffeth at them. Now, let me read this in the NLT. It says, yet they succeeded in everything they do. They do not see your punishment awaiting them. Right, and what's that punishment? The complete annihilation of America, the destruction and fall of Rome 2.0, right? All their plans, coming to a screeching halt. Failure. That's what's coming to onto Esau. But it says, excuse me, it says they sneer at all their enemies. And that's what we're seeing them do right now, right? Through Donald Trump, they're sneering at all their enemies. right? Just like it says in the King James, right? He puffed at them. You know, these Donald Trump has got his head high. America right now, man, all these Edomites, they got their head held high. Hey, but that pride, man, is soon going to be punished. Scriptures talk about pride goes before destruction and a haughty spirit before a fall, right? So it's just soon, man, when the Most High is about to take this man down, and that's what you want, man. You want it because what fun is it to have like the priest Amawan said in the camp the other day. You know what fun is it is to how fun, Salaki, how do you say it? Salakia. He said uh it wouldn't be fun to kick somebody when they're down and all humble. Nah, you want them proud, so that way it's more fun, right? And that's exactly what the Lord's gonna do. You know, he has them all puffed up, all proud, but soon he's gonna knock their ass off that pedestal, man. That they put themselves up on, you know. I want to get another one too. Um, how's it go? It's lucky I just had it on my mind. Um, Pretty much going into. Let me see. So lucky I lost it. Let's go back to the article. As a matter of fact, let me get this other article. This is from RT News. It says U.S. ready for war with China. You see, so they're already talking about an actual war. You know, now we can get that right in Matthew the 24th chapter, and verse 6. It says, "And ye shall hear wars and rumors of wars." Right, that's what we're hearing about: wars and rumors of wars. Right. It says, "See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet." Right. So it ain't over yet. There's certain prophecies that need to come to pass before the end of this place. But it says, verse 7, "For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places." And that's what we're about to see, right? Um, Let me see. All these are the beginning of sorrows. You see, this is just the beginning. You know, this is the beginning stages of Jacob's trouble, the beginning stages of America's demise. You know what I'm saying? Because Jacob's trouble is going to hit Jake, of course, but it's not just only going to hit Jake. The main target is Jake, of course, but all these heathens are going to feel it as well. You know. Now let me see. Let me go back to this. So it says the Pentagon chief's statement comes amid escalating trade tensions with Beijing. So it says the U.S. is prepared to go to war with China if necessary. The Pentagon has announced following Beijing's threat of tariff retaliation in what marks another escalation in an ongoing trade war between the world's two largest economies. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth clarified the U.S. position earlier on Wednesday in an interview with Fox News responding to the Chinese embassy in the U.S., which said Beijing was ready to fight any type of war. Right, that's what we just read. It says, "We are prepared," Hegseth said, adding those who long for peace must prepare for war, stressing deterrence in the warrior ethos. Right, those who long for peace must prepare for war. That's the only way peace is going to happen, through war. Of course, I'm talking about the kingdom of heaven, right? The kingdom of heaven ain't going to come until this place gets taken out. And that's talked about in Second Ezra, the 4th chapter. Salakia. Pull it up. Bear with me. But this place has to be taken down before the kingdom of heaven is established. You know, you had Donald Trump promising all these people peace, and we can get that precept next. Let me see, right here. Second Ezra 4:28, it says, "But as concerning the thing whereof thou askest me, I will tell thee, for the evil is sown, but the destruction thereof is not yet come." So the destruction of this evil place has to come to pass, right? Before the kingdom of heaven. And he's going to explain it. Verse 29. It says, "Therefore that which is sown be not turned upside down," meaning be uprooted, be taken out the way, right? Be destroyed. It says, and if the place where the evil is sown pass not away, then cannot it come that is sown with good. So two kingdoms uh 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 can't exist at the same time. Is my point, right? Now, what was I gonna get? Oh yeah, because Donald Trump is promising peace and safety. We know what happens. Spelled it wrong, Salakia. This is First Thessalonians 5 and verse 3. It says, For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them." Right? So Donald Trump was promising the golden age back, was promising uh, uh, America first, a booming economy, you know, all these good words, all these good promises, you know. But what happens? Peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them. And we're seeing that destruction, that storm is building up. That perfect storm is building up, man. And people ain't prepared for it, right? So it says, "I travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape." So nobody's gonna escape this, man. Everybody's gonna be going through it. We're gonna be going through it. The elect are gonna, because the elect are gonna be going through it. Lord willing, we part of the elect, but at least the elect are gonna be covered in that time. While we see 2/3 bugging out, tripping, crashing out, you know, all because of the plagues that America's gonna be hit with, the plagues of Egypt, right? Now, I would get that, but just for time's sake, let me go back to this. It says, "We live in a dangerous world with powerful, ascendant countries that have very different ideologies." Right? Ascendant countries, meaning they're coming up. Countries that's coming up. Let me get this. Right here. Isaiah 14 and 10. "And they shall speak and say unto thee, Art thou also become weak as we? Art thou become like unto us?" That's how these nations are viewing America. They're viewing America as their equal. America was once a superpower. Nobody wanted to mess with America. You know, ever since World War II, since when America flexed that atomic bomb, nobody wanted to mess with America. America was number one. But now those times are over. Everybody got a nuclear warhead, right? Everybody got, well, at least the major ones, these major countries, they got nuclear capabilities. So they ain't scared of America. All right. But it says, "We live in a dangerous world with powerful ascendant countries that have very different ideologies," he said. "They're rapidly increasing the defense spending, modernizing technology. They want to supplant the United States." Oh, man. Yo, that's what we're seeing. That's what we're seeing, man. As a matter of fact, let's get this. In Zephaniah 3 and verse 8, it says, "Therefore wait ye upon me, said Yahweh, until the day that I rise up to the prey. For my determination is to gather the nations, that I may assemble the kingdoms, to pour upon them mine indignation." So it's the Most High's will to assemble all these nations together, right? To have them bickering and pretty much backbiting at each other. You know what I'm saying? Instigating that fight for that ultimate battle. The war to end all wars. All right? But it says, "Even all my fierce anger For all the earth shall be devoured with the fire of my jealousy, right? Like the scriptures talk about, for the controversy of Zion, because all these nations have taken hold of the Most High's possession, which is Jake, you Israelites, you know. But also Esau, claiming to be the Most High, him thinking that he's going to possess the earth, pretty much take hold of the Most High's creation. That's not going to fly, right? So all that Esau's got to pay for it. But even these nations, that were once in alliance with this damn devil, we can read about that in Psalms the 83rd chapter. So this alliance that they made is broken now. And this is an alliance that they made to come against us, because we were once that superpower on the earth. We had dominion over all the earth, right? And these heathen, they know that and they remember it, right? So let me read this real quick. This is Psalms 83. It says I'm gonna start at verse 3. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna start at the top. It says, "Keep not thou silence, O power, hold not thy peace, and be not still, O power. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head." See, well, you got to understand, the Most High's enemies are our enemies, right? And all these nations are our enemies. So it says, "They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones." Who are the hidden ones? The elect, right? So these nations, even now, even to this day, they're consulting on how to bring us down. How are these niggas waking up? How do they know the truth? That's what they're saying in their back rooms, right? How are they waking up? How can we stop them? How can we bring them down? But it says in verse 4, "They have said, Come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance." And that's what they did back then, right? When they came after us during the time of the Renaissance period, the rebirth of Rome. This is what was going on. Esau going establishing alliances, building up his empire, and all and really it was all the will of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, because Jake was going off at that time. And as we know, the cycle of Jake be doing good, and then they go off, and then slavery is a continuing cycle, right? So when you understand that, it's easier to understand, how to fix our condition, right? But that's another topic, right? Let me just get into this. Right, verse 4, it says, they have said, Come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance, right? And like I said, well, as a matter of fact, it's going to say it in verse 5. It says, "For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee." And even to this day, they have a treaty. What's his name? Ronald Reagan, mentioned in one of his speeches, that if an alien threat or alien force, something along those lines, would have come, then they would have no choice but to band together and fight against that enemy in a common cause. So who are they talking about? An alien threat, right? Outside force. They're talking about Yahweh Shai and the angels. They understand what's coming. They had a Project Looking Glass back then. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, all these things have been revealed unto these devils, man. The scriptures talk about thou art wiser than Daniel, right? So the Most High revealed to these damn devils through them tapping into the left-hand sorcery, right? But it has, the Most High let it to where they can, find out what's waiting for them. Destruction, right? They probably saw Yahweh Shai coming with the chariots, blasting their ass out the sky here on earth, nuking America. Them over there hiding in their bunkers and then being rounded up for slavery. That's what they're trying so hard. That's why Donald Trump instituted warp speed, right? Because it says it in Revelation 12 and 12, that as a matter of fact, let me get it. Revelation 12, verse 12. It says, "Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time." See? So he knows he has a short time. So how does he know this? Because it has been revealed unto him. All right? Project Looking Glass, CERN, right? They had that one message pop up to them, Mene Tekel, right? Meaning you have been weighed, you have been measured, and you have been found wanting, right? Wanting what? This man is lacking leadership. This, like I always say, this man is not profitable unto no one, not even to himself. This man is a detriment to the earth. He's destroying everything. The scriptures talk about if the Most High doesn't speed of times, no flesh shall be saved. This man has got to go, man. All right. Now let me go back to this article. I'm gonna read this again. It says, "We live in a dangerous world with powerful ascendant countries that have very different ideologies," he said. They're rapidly, right, very different ideologies. So again, this is all another problem that's being presented as to why they need to institute that NWO, right? One world government, one world order. So it says, "They're rapidly increasing their defense spending, modernizing technology," right? And we just had that one, I think it was last month, they had that one AI software called DeepSeek, which was outperforming ChatGPT and all the other AI software that America had, right? That's another show of force. It's almost like the old race to space, right? Now they have AI race, technological race, nuclear race, right? So it says they want to supplant the United States, but that's what's going to happen, man. There's nothing they can do. America will be supplanted, right? As we read in Obadiah, right? Let me see. Obadiah 1. It says, "All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him." That's exactly right, man. America will be supplanted, will be taken out the way. Going back, it says, "If we want to deter war with the Chinese or others, we have to be strong," he said. That was pretty much it, man. War is coming. That's the main topic of this lesson. War is coming. The battle of Armageddon, as they say, the battle of Armageddon, right? All this is coming, and it's man, it's happening at a rapid pace. But like I said, certain things have to come to pass before we see all this play out, right? The MOTB, there's a lot of information on the MOTB now. Technology is rapidly moving. Now they're talking about AI robots, that by the end of the year they're going to have 500,000 robots or something like that. You have other companies bringing out their form of AI robots, right? So we're living in heavy times, man. Heavy times. Things that we would once see in movies or cartoons, TV shows, sci-fi movies. Like what's that movie? Total Recall. All these things is happening. Is coming, man. It's happening right before our face, and it's just a matter of time before all this shit just gets done away with. The Most High just comes and sweeps all this place up, man. Sweeps this whole mess up, right? Because the earth needs a cleaning, deep cleaning, and that cleaning is going to be issued by the way of thermonuclear fire, which is a form of cleansing this land, right? The scriptures say that that um, there's no way to heal the land but by the blood of him that shed it. There's a lot of blood that's been shed on this land. Look at the history, how this man obtained this land by the genocide, the massacre, the rape, robbery, murder of our people. So this place has to be, has to be destroyed. There's too much blood, right? But anyway, that was pretty much it. I pray the lesson was edifying. I'm gonna go ahead and close it out by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Racha HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who taught me this truth and rule well. Peace and blessings unto the hopeful elect, pushing his word throughout the four corners of the earth in truth, righteousness, and sincerity. Until the next time, I'm going to say, Shalom, Kwam Yasha Allah.